Hi everyone, welcome back. In our last video, we explored the basic Selenium locators like ID, name, class name, tag name, link text, and partial link text, right, with the real-time example. So I hope you tried them out and got some hands-on practice as well. So if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments, so I'll happy to help you. Now in today's video, we are taking it one level up. We will dive into XPath and CSS Selector. Okay, two of the most powerful ways to locate the element in Selenium. So let us get started. So what is the XPath? So XPath, or you can say XML path language in Selenium, is a powerful mechanism used to locate a web element on the web page. Right? XPath is useful when other common locators like ID, class name, or name are not available or not a unique enough. Right? So XPath allow you to identify web element based on their structure, or you can say attributes, or content within the HTML document. So we have two types of XPath in available. Okay, one is a absolute XPath, one is a relative XPath. So one is a absolute, one is a relative XPath. So absolute XPath is a very specific but can be fragile. As any changes in the path it will break it. Okay, as the same as the name suggests, absolute XPath gives the complete path of an element starting from the root node. That's the HTML tag. From the root node, always it will be the HTML tag. So it will going to start from the HTML tag all the way down to your target element. For example, if I go to Google page, so I'll just right click from here, inspect this. If I want to find the element, find the XPath of this element, maybe if I'm trying to get the complete XPath, right? Copy the full XPath. So let's go over here. I'll show you this one. So this is what, complete XPath. Okay. So now it is starting from the top root node, right? Top root node of HTML. On the way, it's step by step, one by one. In the next tag, it is coming. The path starts from the right from the root, okay? Root HTML tag. And follow the every node step by step until it reaches the target element. Okay, so now I'll show you with the small example. So now I have written, simple HTML code. So now I want, this is my target element. Okay, I want to find this element. So in this case, what I have to do? So I can write our, absolute XPath. Absolute XPath always start from that single slash only. See, it start from the single slash. So what you can do, how we have to write the single slash? First, it will be start from that HTML, right? Then body, right? Then we have a div is there. Then we have a form is there. Then we have a input, right? So here also you can see the path. It starts from the HTML, right? HTML tag, and follow the every node step by step until reaches the input of the, this is our target element. Okay, so what is the advantages of absolute XPath? Easy to understand for the beginner. Okay, it shows the complete structure of the element. Okay, now if you see that, useful if you are learning a DOM hierarchy, right? It is useful for learning a DOM hierarchy. You can visually trace the location of the element, right? Then if you are saying like a disadvantages of absolute XPath, it's a very fragile. Even a small changes in the HTML structure, like adding one more div over here, right? It can break your XPath, right? Hard to maintain also. It's a large pages. If suppose if you are having a large pages, the XPath can be very long and messy. Okay, this is a not recommended for the dynamic pages. If elements move around, it becomes invalid quickly. Okay, in real-time scenarios, right, in real-time Selenium project, we mostly use the relative XPath because it's a shorter, more flexible and less likely to break when the web pages structure is changes. So now that we have understood absolute XPath, let us move on to the more powerful and commonly used one is a relative XPath. Okay, so relative XPath is, this is what your relative XPath. So now, if instead of writing a long absolute XPath, right, we can simply write. So if I just wanted to navigate to the this element, right? So if I want to write a absolute XPath, how we can go? Directly I'll go to the target element. So absolute XPath always start from the double slash. You can go with the tag name. So what is the tag name? Tag name is always start from that, next to the angular bracket is a tag name. So here input is our tag name. So I just add a input, then square bracket. So we can use any attribute. So now this type is one of the attribute, ID is one of the attribute. So attributes means you can always add a at the symbol. Then ID equal to, within a single quote, you can add a value. Then close the square bracket. This is what you have to write your absolute XPath. Okay. So here the double slash, we are using a double slash means start searching anywhere in the DOM. Right. Single slash means it starts from the top root node. Double slash means it starts searching anywhere in the DOM structure. Okay. So the condition we have given at the rate of ID equal to username, it filter the element having that specific attribute. Okay. So advantages of a relative XPath is it's very short. Okay. You can see it's a very short and reliable. Works even if the page structure changes also. Even if they have added a more div here or more div here also, what happens? It's not going to change any, the XPath. Okay. It supports, it supports advanced feature like, we have a contains function is there, starts with function is there, text function is there, and we can use the parent-child relationship is there. So always we can use with this in this available in the relative XPath. Okay. Best choice for dynamic web pages. Elements can move around. It will be still work. Okay, so if you say the disadvantages of the absolute relative XPath, right? So slightly complex, okay? Slightly complex syntax for beginners, especially when using a multiple conditions. If not written properly, it can match the multiple elements, okay? In real world Selenium automation, we always prefer the relative XPath only over absolute XPath because it more stable, flexible, and easier to maintain. So now that we know both absolute and relative XPath, in the next let's explore how to write the custom XPath. Okay, custom XPath means in that relative XPath we are going to write some more. We are going to use some more functions. As I said before, we have a contains function is there, starts with is there, text is there, right? Parent to child, child to parent, right? So all those things we are going to explore. Okay. So first let us start from the contains. So let us start contains function. So what is contains here? Contains is used when part of the attribute value is constant, okay? And the other part keeps on changing. For example, if I go here, here we have one of the HTML structure is there. Okay, in this, if you see that ID, okay, I want to find this element. So in that particular element, ID is a user 1, 2, 3, 4 and name is there. So here maybe I'm not sure about the 1, 2, 3, 4, it's keep on changing. So in this case, I can go and write the XPath with the contains function. Okay. How to write the contains? So I can say input. Okay. Double slash and the tag name is this one. Somewhere, the tag name it will be text area. Somewhere it will be that button, right? So based on that, you need to identify that what is the tag name. So same thing we need to write. Now here it is a tag name is a input. So I have written a input. Tag name first, then square bracket. Now I am going to use the function called contains. So I can say contains, open bracket. So here I am using the other ID. So this is the ID I am going to use, ID attribute. So you can go with ID, right, comma. You can say within a single quote, you can say user. So this is what contains. So it's the best for dynamic IDs or dynamic classes or particularly changes after every page load. Okay, if every page load this number is keep on changing. So in this case what we are using with the user ID equal to it contains the user. Right, it is going to identify this element. Okay, so the same way we have another one function is that is called starts with user. Starts with. So starts with how it's going to work. So starts with is similar to contain, but it check whether an attribute value starts with the specific text. So for example, here I can say, I'll remove this. I can say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, some value. So I am sure about that first part is it's not going to change. It's a constant value. So the last part is it's keep on changing. Okay, you can use the starts with it when you know the beginning part that attribute value, but not the full value. Right? Beginning part is not going to change. It's a constant value. But in the end of the part, right, other part, it's keep on changing. So in this case, you can go with the starts with. So how you can write the text path for the starts with? Let's say input, right? So instead of contents, here you can go with that starts with. So here also I'm using ID, comma, the value, user, maybe this is also you can add because till that it is going to be the constant value, right? You can use it when you know the beginning part of the attribute value is not going to change. It's a constant value. Okay. In this case, you can use this as a, starts with. You can use the starts with function. So let's go and close this, right? Close bracket and open, close the square bracket as well. So what is that next one? Next one is another function called text is there. Okay, this is one of the important functions. You can use text when you want to locate an element based on the visible text, okay, on your web page. For example, I can go to that another web page. So here, I just wanted to inspect the login. I don't identify the login. So if you check the login here, see this is the text. Now you are following all the, XPath only you are written. For all the element, you are using a XPath. Now I want to use the XPath by writing the text. Here we have a name is there, but if suppose in the name is not there, okay, ID is not there. In this case, what we are going to do, we can use the text as well, right? How to write the text? So here itself we can write. So now this is the tag name is here you can see button is the tag name. Let's see class button open square bracket, right? You can say text, right? Text equal to, you can add login. See now, it is identify the element. It's getting highlighted. See now here you can able to see it is a one-on-one element showing. So now this is the way we need to identify. So I will show you here maybe. So if you want to write, I'll copy the content. Okay, I'll copy the content and I'll show you. I'll copy the element. I'll paste it over here. So now within this, I just wanted to write our XPath. So I can say double slash, right? Double slash is a, now next is a tag name. Tag name here, what is that button? So I can say button, right? So now I just wanted to go with the square bracket. Here I'm going to use the function called text equal to, what is the text is here? This login is a text value, right? So you can say equal to within the single quote, you can say log in. Then close the square bracket. So this is what the XPath, right? It is a perfect for locating a buttons or link or label that have a visible text. So this is a visible text. So all the text area and all, you are not able to see any visible text. But in button or link or label, right, you can able to see the visible text. So using the, if you are having a visible text in the element, using the text, you can able to easily identify the web element, right? And also we can combine the function for the complex condition. Suppose if the text button, right, here this is not working. In this case, what we have to do, we can combine another attribute, another function as well. For example, simply I can say here text equal to login I have written, right? So now suppose if this is not working. maybe it is showing a multiple element with the same value, same text login. So in this case, what we can do, we can combine another function as well. So for example, you can say starts with maybe if suppose if its ID is there. Okay, in this case, ID is not there, but for an example, I'm adding if ID is there, then you can say ID equal to submit. Right? This is the way also we can write our function, right? We can able to combine, right? So now this is the way. Now I'll remove this one. Okay, I'm just using that. I'm just combining. Okay, we can combine the function for the complex conditions. So now let us understand parent to child and child to parent element. Suppose when you know the parent and want to access the child element, for example, I'll go here. So this is one of the switches, right? For example, here in this, we have a UL is a parent element, okay? Parent of the LI. LI is the child element. So select the LI element inside the UL, right? So we can write here, div, right? So slash so you parent element, then we have a LI element. This means start from the div, right? Then go to UL and then it's a child of the LI element. Why we have to use the parent to child? When you know the parent element and want to access the child element, right? Parent is easily accessible, but not in child. In this case, we are using the parent to child element, right? Parent to child. So let us go and understand from here. I'll inspect this. So now, suppose I have this is the parent, okay? I see this is one of the parent of this element, okay? In this text area, it's not easily accessible, meaning that if suppose there is no ID, there is no name and all, right? So there is no specific attribute for that particular element. I want to work on this element, but easily accessible the parent element. So what we can do, we can navigate from parent to child element. So what we can do here, I'll write a code for this. You see here, I can write class asterisk symbol. You can go with the tag name or you can add an asterisk. So here at the rate class equal to, we'll add a value and close. See now this is the parent element. Now my target element is this one. Okay, this is the child of this element. So what we can do, I have a tag name is there. So what we can do, I say slash text area. This is the tag name. So now if I go with the tag name, see it's now coming into parent to child. Now I can easily accessible the child element. In this case, like if here we have a name is there, ID is there, but in suppose if it is not available, then we can go with the parent to child as well. This is one of the way we can able to navigate to the particular element. So our aim is to locate the element, right? Locate the specific element. We can use this parent to child as well, right? This is one of the way we can able to navigate to the element. So I will copy this code and I'll show you here. So how this is working. See now, this is the class, this is the parent element. Okay. Parent element I can easily accessible because I have a class is there, straightforward value is there. But text area, that is my target element, this is not easily accessible. Okay, we don't have any ID or name or any of the specific attributes. So in this case, what I have done, I'm just navigate, I mean parent to and child area because child is my target element. The same way we have another way is that is a child to parent also. Okay. So if you go here, I just wanted to work on the parent. Okay. I don't want to work on this child. The child I have a easily accessible ID name is there, but I want to work on the parent element. So in this case, what we can do, I will class is a, you can say, the name. Okay, name equal to the value is there, right? So you can say name equal to value. Okay, now I have easily accessing this element. but my target element is this one. In this case, what we can do, simply you can say slash dot dot. See, it is navigate to the, it is highlighting the parent element. So we can navigate from parent to child as well and child to parent as well. So now here I have what we have done, just we are doing is identify that element. I just wanted to navigate to the parent element, right? I want to locate the parent element. So from child to slash dot dot, it will go to the child to parent. Right, to move from child element to its parent, we use slash dots. Okay, this is where you can move one level up from suppose here li to ul. If you want, you can able to do that. Okay, so that is what your child to parent. So we know that how to create from parent to child to parent, right? So why we use child to parent? Suppose when the child is easier to identify, but you need to work with the parent element. That is where we are using a child to parent. Next one we have a ancestor is. Ancestor is used to move upward in the DOM tree, right? All the way to top. So for example, here if I go to that element, here I just wanted to, maybe my target element is this one. Okay, from this element, I just wanted to go to the top, like maybe in that header, HTML or header, or some other div or form. Right, so here I just wanted to navigate. So what we can do, I know that I can able to easily identify this my child element, right? So this my, I'll go with this one. So this is my current element. I just wanted to navigate to the maybe the parent or grandparent element, right? In higher level, if you want to navigate, then I can use the ancestor. So ancestor means simply you can say once if you identify this element, you can add ancestor slash, okay, ancestor double colon. Here you can add any of the tag name, okay? So you can add a div, right? See, it is navigate from the parent, right? So if you want to navigate to HTML, right, that is a top row, right? In the top row, if you want to, you can able to do. So same way here we have a some other. So here we have a form is there. If you want to navigate to form, right? So I can say form. See, it is navigate to form. So any of the grandparent, right? Not a direct parent. If you want to go to the higher parent or grandparent, then you can go with the ancestor colon and you can use the tag name, right? I so see now this is the way ancestor and colon you have to pass and you have to use the tag name, any tag name. If you want to navigate to div or if you want to navigate to button or HTML or header, right? So any tag name you can pass here, so it is going to navigate. This is where we are using an ancestor. So then we have a following sibling and the preceding sibling is there. So following sibling is used to select the element that come after the current element but are in the same parent. For example, here we have a UL is the parent. So three child element is there. Okay. Now currently I am in the home element. Okay. So if suppose I'm say like a LI. Here we have a text is there. Text equal to home. Right? Close the square bracket. Now currently I am in the home element, right? Now I just wanted to select I want to locate that, about element, right? My target element is the about element. So for that what we have to, the home and about, these all, siblings, right? So I just, now currently I am in the home. I just wanted to navigate to the about. So for that, we can use the following sibling. So I can say following sibling, colon, you can give a tag name. So tag name is a li. So this is what it is going to select the about and contact. Right? If you want to select the about or if you want to select the contact, then you can go with that. So let's go and see here. Okay, if I go to, see now here, if you see that this is the parent element, this is the 3-child element is here it is showing. Okay, now I'll take this one. It's a class. Okay, I'll copy this. I can say at class equal to, I'll give this value. So, okay, now currently I am here in this element. Now I want to navigate to the siblings. Okay, next sibling, like following sibling. So for that I can say slash following sibling. Okay, give colon and give the div. See now it is navigate from here to here. This is the way we have to navigate like a following sibling. I am currently in that this sibling, right? So this one. Currently I am here. From here to I just navigate to the next following sibling. If you want to work on the following sibling, then you can navigate from in the previous this sibling to next one. Okay, first child to the next child. If you want to select the second child, then this is the way you can go to. Okay, here if you see this is it is showing the 2 element, right? Now if you want to select the unique element, what we can do, we can go with the, maybe you can pass the index, right? Second div. I want to select the second div. I mean next sibling. So in this case, here we have a home is there, about is there, contact is there, right? Now currently I'm in that home element. From here to I just wanted to navigate to that li means it will show the 2 element, right? But I want to work on the contact means, and you can go with the index as well. Okay, you can pass the index and it will go into select. So that's what here we have done. I'll just copy that and show you. See now, this is the current element. Okay, from current element to I'm just using the following sibling and navigate to the div. Div it's showing the 2 elements, so I just navigate to the second element. If I want to work on the second element, second div, then I just add a index. This is what you have your following sibling. The same way you can go with the preceding sibling as well. Preceding sibling is currently, suppose I'll just copy this. So currently I am in the about. Okay. Now from here to I just wanted to navigate to the home. Okay. So this is the preceding sibling. Currently I am in that about element, right? Now I want to navigate to the, I want to find the locator on that home, right? So what we can do, we'll go with the preceding sibling, right? So preceding sibling of li. So what happened, this will go to the, from about to home, it is going to highlight the home. Okay, this is the way we have to identify the specific locator using the different, options like parent to child, child to parent, following sibling, preceding sibling, right? It is, the preceding sibling, it is useful when you need the element before the current one. Okay, so now you know how to navigate the DOM in every direction using the XPath, like from parent to child, child to parent, ancestor, and, following and preceding sibling. So let us explore another powerful locator strategy in Selenium, that is a CSS selector. CSS selector is another way to locate element in a web page using the HTML attributes, tags, IDs or classes. Okay, it is very faster and simpler compared to other XPath, compared to the XPath in many cases. Okay, for example, if I want to use the ID, okay, if I'm using a complete CSS selector, now I want to use the ID. So in case what we can do, so I'll take this one. Here we don't have ID. And go here. Okay, now suppose I just will go to the Facebook page. Here we have some example. I'll go to here. Now suppose I can say here we have a ID user. Now I want to use the ID. Okay, I'm using a, currently I'm using only CSS selector. So ID is there. So how to create a CSS selector? How to write a CSS selector using the ID? Okay, how to use that? So simply we are going to use, I can say CSS selector. If I want to use the ID, so in this case, simply you have to use the hash symbol. Okay, and the value we need to pass. What is the value here? The ID value is the email. Okay, now you can go and use email. This is the way, simple way we can go. Right? ID. Suppose if I want to use the class name. Okay, class name here. I have a class name is this is the class name. Okay, in this case, if it is a class name, what we have to go? I just go and use the dot and class name we can add. Okay, if it is a space is there, usually class we are not going to use. Okay, if it is a space. If suppose if it is a space, then you can add a dot over there. Okay, it will going to work. Okay, if it is a space, you can add a dot. In suppose in we are using a directly, we are using the class name with the space, we are not use the values, right? Class name we are not going to use if suppose if it is a space is there. In case if you are using the CSS selector, then you can go with the dot. Okay, wherever if it is a space, then you can use the dot over that will going to work. Okay, so now suppose if you want to use the tag name, directly you can use the tag name. For example, here if you want to use the tag name, here the button is a tag name, right? So you can use directly button is a tag name. Directly we can use because in XPath what we have seen, we have to go with the slash, right? Slash and button, this is what XPath. But here in CSS, directly you can use the tag name. Okay, so tag name is input is a tag name, right? Button is a tag name. So based on that, which tag name you want to use, you can go with it. Directly you can use it. Okay, if you want to use any attributes, so simply what we can do, if you want to use any attributes, so you can say attribute equal to, you can give value. That's it. This is the what we have to go with. For example, if it is a login button, right? So now I can say if it is a login button in Facebook, if it is there, so we can say attribute. For example, if it is attribute is a type, then value is a submit. This is what your CSS selector. Okay, directly see XPath, right? What we have used, whatever the attribute we are using, we use the at symbol. But in CSS selector, you can use directly whatever the attribute. If it is a type is attribute and you can use a type. If you are using any other attribute, then you can use the attribute and you have to pass the value. Okay. If suppose if I want to use the input and ID, right, both the tag name and the attribute. So directly you can say input and ID equal to the value you can pass. Okay. So this is what your CSS selector. It's very easy one. Okay, just like a XPath has a contains and the starts with, right? CSS has a similar pattern matching options also. Okay, so starts with means starts with. This is what we used in a XPath. But in case of CSS selector, right? So what we have to do if suppose if I'm using that, I'm just adding a syntax over here. So syntax for starts with. So we can say attribute, right? Attribute here we have to use the character symbol, this one, right? Equal to whatever the value we are going to use, we can use the value. This is what one of the syntax for that starts with. So how we can use, for example, I can say input, right? Here I'm going to pass the attribute. Attribute if suppose I'm using a ID. Okay, I'm going to use the ID starts with. So I can say start with character symbol equal to, you can pass the value. Okay, so if suppose if it is a user, then you can go with the user. Right? Same way we have a ends with is there. Okay, ends with. So ends with means simply we are going to use the match element. Okay, whose attribute ends with the value. For example, I can say attribute equal to attribute here, and here starts with we use the character symbol. For ends with if you want to use, just you have to go with the dollar symbol. Okay, equal to the value we need to pass. For example, if it is a, so we can use the value. Okay. So now if suppose the same, I'm using the input and the tag name, right? So input, here I'm using, for example, if I'm using the in ID dollar, comma, the value equal to, this is the value. For example, if it is a user, if the value means you can use the value. Okay, this is the way we have to use the ends with. Okay, this is what ends with. So starts with we have seen, ends with we have seen. Then we have a contains is there. Okay, contains means what we have to do? We have to use the asterisk symbol. Okay, matches element whose attribute contains a value. Okay, for that syntax will be attribute. So attribute equal to, attributes here we need to pass the asterisk symbol. Okay, equal to, you can give a value. So this is what. So for example, here you can pass the values, right? So now I'll go with the same way. For example, if it is a in button, okay, button is one of the tag name. So here I'm just using the attribute equal to, maybe if I use the attribute equal to class, okay, class asterisk symbol equal to, I can say the value, maybe I can say logic. This is what contains. Okay, this is what your contains. So what we have seen so far, we have seen starts with and ends with and contains. Right? You can combine as well. You can combine both that ends with and starts with, or starts with and the contain also. Okay, you can use that ID and class name also. You can able to combine. So I'll show you in small example over here. So now here we could able to see that I'm just opening the Chrome browser and navigate to the Facebook page. Here I'm using the first name and last name we identified using that XPath and CSS Selector. Okay. So if I want to select, if I want to add a value of the XPath, then here you need to select XPath so that it is identified. Okay, this is the, based on the syntax, it will identify that, okay, this is the, we are passing the XPath values. Okay. So here we have given a double slash, input is a tag name and open square bracket at the rate. Here we are passing a ID equal to email, right? Then we are using a sentence. Same way for the next element, that is a password. What we have done, we are using a CSS selector. Okay. So if we are passing this one, right, what is that? This is the ID. So if you are selecting by.css selector, then only it will identify, okay, they are passing the ID. Okay, it is identified, it is go and validate that where is the ID with the this value. Then it is going to identify the element and perform the action. So now let us understand what is the difference between that XPath and CSS Selector. So now here I have added, what is the difference in XPath and CSS Selector. First, if you take the direction. So in XPath, right, it can move both up and down, right? Parent to child, you can able to, child to parent also you can able to navigate. You can move both up and down in the DOM structure, right? But if you go to the CSS selector, right, that only downwards, right? Parent to child you can able to navigate, child to parent is not possible. This is the main difference here in a XPath and CSS selector. So if you are facing any interview question like what is the difference in XPath and CSS selector, this is the first point you have to mention. Okay, so in XPath you can able to navigate from from parent to child, child to parent, you can able to move both down and up. But in CSS selector, you can only, use that downward only. So parent to child, you can able to possible, child to parent is not possible. Okay. So the syntax wise, XPath, it will be the slash, single slash is there, absolute XPath, and relative XPath, we are using the double slash. But here in CSS selector, we have a tag is there, a hash symbol is there, dot is there. So this is what we are using for CSS selector. And if you talk about that speed, right, it is slightly slower, XPath. Okay, but in CSS selector, it's a very fast one. Okay, because it's a browser optimized one. So it is a very fast. So same thing, it's a text based search. So what we have done, we are using that text, right? We have using that tag name and text also. Using the text also, we try to find the locator. That is possible in a XPath, but in a CSS selector, that is not possible. Okay, using the text-based search. So the next one is a navigation, like it's supported that ancestor, descendant, siblings, right? Because this is in CSS selector, it's not supported because it is only move from top, only down only, right? It's not going to move up, so that it is not going to support. And dynamic element in XPath can use contains and starts with, right? But here in CSS selector also we can use that starts with and ends with using the symbol, right? Asterisk symbol we have seen, and we have seen the character symbol as well. So readability, think like more descriptive but longer. If you think about XPath, right? We use the starts with, we use the contents, we use the following siblings. That's all more descriptive but longer one. But if you think like in a CSS selector, it's a very short because we are using only the asterisk symbol, character symbol, hash symbol, dot, right? So those are very short. Okay, short and very clean. That is a CSS selector. And browser support works in all the browser. Both right, CSS selector expert, both will work in all the modern browsers. Okay. So you need to navigate between complex parent, child structure. You want to find the element by the text. Right? You are dealing with the dynamic web application. You can use a CSS selector. Okay. You need a fast execution and simple locator. Then you are identifying a element by ID, class, or attribute. Right? You want a cleaner or shorter code. Then you can go with the CSS selector. Okay, so XPath is like a Google Map. It can take you in any direction in the downstream. But CSS selector is like a straight road. Okay, it's a faster, but it only move downward. Okay, XPath gives you flexibility. CSS selector gives you the speed. In Selenium project, right, we usually combine both using CSS selector, for simple element and XPath for the complex one. All right, that's it for today. Take some time to practice what we learned. And if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments. In the next video, we'll see how to handle the different web element in Selenium. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.